So definitely drawings that what is the basic requirements. Example, if I need to have a foundation, etc. So I should be having the detailed drawings to be attached to the part of the tender so that a contractor can go through it. And followed by the drawings, it should be earnest money deposit. So what is the earnest money deposit? Every contractor has to be paid as a part of a deposit to the employer. It is generally varies from 1 to 3%, depend on the types of the contract and everything. And the contractor whose tender has been accepted by employer, his earnest money transferred to the security deposit for the contract. I have mentioned security deposit term earlier. Just would like to repeat it. Security deposit is nothing but the deposit given by the contractor to employer to carry out work, and employer will deduct a security bill in running a bill for the contractor, so that there is a security amount with the employer, so that contractor will work on the said terms with the said rates given that particular thing. So then moving forward, PQ criteria. PQ criteria is nothing but qualification criteria for the executor to quote for the tender. If example, I am targeting my foundation work, and I will not going to invite, or I will not going to take the quote from a interior contractor. See, example, qualification criteria is like this, that if I am having G plus 40 my tower, my qualification criteria starts with that executor should have a minimum 20 to 30 years of experience in RCC. He has the financial background. He has handled the multiple projects. He has handled. He should have the technical team. His market name and fame, etc. What is his past projects? How it was completed? Does that project completed on time? The references, everything should be mentioned here, so that only the qualified contractor can be quoted for the tender, and it is very easy for the employer. After receiving the tender quote, he will finalize. This criteria is also plays a major role, where sometimes the criterias are not so good enough. Every Tom, Dick and Harry available in the market, they will quote for that project, and definitely the end up, it is a trouble for employer whom to select, because every time contract is nothing but direct, no directly proportional with the price, but there are certain qualification or competency that he has to honor it, and he has to quote it. So nothing but a tender part of that, time period of the construction. Definitely, that what is the time period? Defect liability period. This is also a important part, that where post completion of the work, contractor has to provide a defect liability period to the owner or employer. This means that the generally defect liability period for a residential, it is from 2 to 4 years. For any interior contract, it is 12 months to 18 months. So it depends, that it states that any defect observed in the work after completion up to that particular period, then contractor is bound to rectify it as per his cost, and owner will not going to pay anything extra for that particular defect. After for that, what happens, that normally in tender conditions, employer will mention that 5 to 10% of total contract value will be treated as a retention money. That retention money will be given to the contractor only after successful completion of the defect liability period. Then validity of the tender. Definitely, this is also plays a major role. Major government projects, that validity of a tender, that how much time the tender is valid, and the submission date, place, and time. That also a part of the tender. So here I would like to show you a couple of tender notices. We will go through ones where the details was mentioned. National Book Trust of India, tender number and date. Nature of work, it is very simple. corrugated carton boxes and corrugated paper soil. Cost of tender is 590. Earnest money, as I mentioned, earnest money is the amount that every contractor has to submit to the owner in the interest of getting work done. But if contractor fails to get the contract, then immediately employer has to return it back. That earnest money mode of payment is demand draft. Here in the mention, the we can say, we can means a contractor can provide check or cash or bank guarantee to the owner so that it can be easily re-given. Then tender time starts 7/4/21. This tender opening date. This is nothing but the overall idea. So example, left hand side there is a MMRDA tender. It has been mentioned that e-tender notice. Since all the same details are not available here, that what is the cost of tender, earnest money. So they have just mentioned the scope of the work, important dates, that when the what is the last date and everything. So we have to go through that MMRDA sites, and we have to see that what are the other terms, earnest money, specification, what are the mode of payments and etc. For day work. So this is just to overview that this is the first thing where a project starts. But to arrive at this is contract manager has to do the multiple tasking, starting with preparation of drawing specification, arrive of the cost, arrive of the total project cost, and he has to target some deadline which is feasible. Means we cannot say I have to construct G plus 40 building in 1 year. He cannot mention here 12 months. There are some realistic timelines has to be put. Otherwise, no contractor will be able to going to quote for this, because everyone knows there are compensation for the delay and no one will going to accept it. So to move further, as everyone knows that the construction industry is the second largest employment providing sector, next only to the agriculture. So uh, this is regarding to that why and how, what is the importance of this construction industry. And I have mentioned one quick line over there: significant forward and backward linkage with crucial and critical sectors. Here I would like to give you one example. So example, steel mill here, to perform its economy activity, the mill needs to input from a coal mining and iron ore mining. This constitutes it's a backward linkage. When the steel mill sells its to produce, it needs to develop links between the metal fabrication industry, construction companies, and wholesalers. So this is nothing but the backward and forward linkage to this particular industry, which gives you the additional benefit and exposure. These are some percentage of different civil engineering construction and reference to the percentage of cost going into construction. So example, road, 60 percentage of road construction cost is going on. Here I have mentioned, every 5-year plan, whatsoever the total amount, construction component and the percentage increased. We can see that in 1951 to 1956, only allocation to construction is 988. 2007 to 12, it's 168. So that just see the difference between the amount in terms of the construction plan that government is targeting. So this is overall view of a construction industry. These are the figures of around 2010. I have taken it. So what are the total number of executive engineers and supervisors and total workers? It's 35 million. This is the potential of this particular industry as per the market figures available till 2010. So this is what a market potential. But after having thorough knowledge and the experience that people, what kind of what kind of role they will going to fit it, if they are found to be a contract manager, or they are now founding themselves that they are okay for managing the contract of a bigger value. So the job opportunities, say example, one is a contract manager that everyone is already, just we have spoke about it. A quantity surveyor, a quantity surveyor is nothing but a part of a contract manager or a team member of a contract manager who can able to provide the detailed specification in BOQ along with the respective quantity, so that he will going to form a complete BOQ with specification, and he will going to submit this to contract manager. Procurement head, contract manager needs to know that what is the price of the item. Accordingly he will going to arrive the certain cost. Otherwise it is very impossible, or it is not possible for him to arrive at a cost of the project. So he should work as a procurement head before going to handle the contract management. So he should market rates for the project, and what are the labor rate for that particular work, and depend on the geographical also. That what happens, that the labor rates are here in Maharashtra will not be same, the labor rates will be in Delhi or in UP. So it that particular procurement gives you the extra benefit or extra cushion towards your knowledge to arrive or to become a good contract manager. Supply chain manager in the same way, that what are the, say example, if we are having a special product like a bulletproof glass, so how you will going to import that particular material. That contract manager required certain guidelines or a certain job opportunities background like supply chain. He should start that the material is coming from, for example, China. So how it will be packed, whether it is coming by a sea or by a air. If it is coming by sea, what kind of particular packaging that we need to have, that particular safe dispatch as well as safe arrival at the site. So all that, but what are the custom clearance charges? Do we need to add custom clearance charges from whether we are taking the material from China? So all those background that experience is needed. Operation manager, definitely operation manager is nothing but the execution and the project head. So all this, he should know able to the price of the material. He should know how and where to bring the material. He should able to carry out the quantities of different items as per the drawings and the details given, and he should manage the project entirely with his execution skills. So I have mentioned there are different job opportunities, but a contract manager is heading, and below five are the sub team parts of the contract manager, where depend upon your experience and the knowledge skill set, you will going to move level by level up, and you will be a good contract manager after having a thorough experience. So this is what I would like to tell you, that this is a very vast topic. I have mentioned something about tender. I hope you guys have slightly go through that and you will like that particular aspect of it. So this is how I would like to conclude my presentation for contract today. And we will start with the basic funda. What is the, say example, process of failure? Say example, being a good contract manager of a good company, say example, Oberoi. If I am giving a contract to L&T, so contract manager will say that, oh okay, I have given to L&T, let L&T will work. I will I have already given, I have done the tendering, my scope is over, I will not going to track the project. So it is very difficult to say that, being a good contractor also, you cannot give them the extra free hand. It's nothing but the false assumptions made by the contract manager. And then there is a failure definitely at the mid of the project or the start of the project, depending on the nature of the work, which gives you ended up a lack of ownership. A contract manager will never say that my work is over for this project. It is until the successful handing over or a closure of the project, he should not get his hands on of that particular contract. This is not my part, this is execution part, this is the procurement part. So this is where, he should be the person who is responsible. He has to he has to take care all the different stakeholders to arrive at uh, certain certain area where, he will target the final success or the final goal of the company. See example, process of suggest, being proactive, attention to the details, and the complete ownership. So the difference between the last slide and this slide is nothing but the ownership. How you will going to take the ownership of a project, that also defines that, how you will going to start and track the project. Wherever you are lagging, you will identify the different routes to resolve the lagging period, then to complete it. So where ownership is missing at some level is a playing a major part. And I have observed from last 8 years, a senior people used to do that. They have given a contract to the good company, and they will say that let that contractor will perform, I will do my other task, and that project has been completely messed. So this is from my personal observation over the period of last 8 to 10 years, that ownership lies with that contract manager, and he should obey that, and he should try to maintain all the stakeholders in a single line to maintain the company's desired goal. Final words: there are no bad teams, only bad leaders. Yeah, I can say that these lines everyone knows, but I would like to give you one example. Such example of a Sachin Tendulkar. He may be a good, fantastic player, but he is not a good leader. So that's why Saurav Ganguly has to step it up, and he has to take it up the leadership, where he was not able to compete the total batting score with the Sachin, but still he was a leader. Today also he is a leader. So that's the difference between, that Ganguly make that thing happen. Afterwards, Ganguly handed over to Dhoni, and now Dhoni is doing, and now today Virat Kohli is doing. So there are no bad teams, only bad leaders.